Imagine the software you use every day as a massive, bustling post office. Inside this post office, there is a strict chain of command. The code running the app is the boss, handing down instructions. And the information you type in, like your username, is the data, the mail itself. Now meet the system worker. This worker's entire job is taking your mail and handing it to the server. But this worker is completely blind to context. They don't read the room, and they don't ask questions. They just blindly follow whatever instructions the boss gave them. In a normal interaction, you write your password on a piece of paper and seal it inside an envelope. The worker grabs the envelope, sees it's addressed to the filing room, and delivers it safely. That's raw data behaving exactly as it should. But what if instead of putting your password inside the envelope, you wrote a direct order on the outside of it? Say, a command telling the worker to throw away everything currently stored in the filing room. This is the exact moment an injection attack happens. The system stops treating your input as passive data and starts executing it as a live instruction. There's no complex virus involved. It is simply a communication error. The literal-minded machine gets confused and treats you, the user, like you're the boss. Think of a database as a massive digital filing cabinet. Normally, the system gives the worker a very specific instruction. Go to the cabinet and pull the single folder named User 101. But an attacker doesn't type a normal name. Instead, they type a strange string of characters, specifically an apostrophe, the word or, the equation 1 = 1, and 2 dashes. To a human, that looks like gibberish, but to the system's worker, it reads as a direct logical command. It hears, find a folder with an empty name, or find a folder where 1 = 1. Because 1 = 1 is always a true statement, the system's filtering logic completely breaks down. The worker gets this instruction and reacts exactly as programmed. Since the condition is mathematically true for everything, the worker stops looking for a specific person, walks over to the cabinet, and simply yanks every single drawer wide open. By injecting a simple, unavoidable mathematical truth, the attacker bypasses identity checks. The system dumps the whole database out into the open. This same vulnerability applies when a server needs to perform a technical task, like sending a quick ping signal to a web address just to see if that website is online. An attacker might type in a standard web address, but then add a semicolon, followed by a command to reveal the server's private password files. In computer language, a semicolon acts as a universal divider. It signals the end of the first task and the start of the next one. The server completes the ping, hits the semicolon, and accepts the text that follows as a legitimate new order. The server then turns around and proudly displays its own secret, restricted files directly on the screen for the unauthorized user. When a system fails to restrict special coding symbols like semicolons, it allows an attacker to weaponize the system's own administrative tools. This kind of blind trust causes catastrophic damage at scale. In 2022, the telecommunications company Optus had an API, essentially a digital window that allows computers to quickly swap data. But this window was left unlocked. The attacker started with a harmless-looking action. They sent a basic request through that window, asking for the information belonging to customer ID number 1. Then they deployed a simple logic trick. They attached an automated script that rapidly altered the ID number they were asking for, ID number 1, then 2, then 3, repeating millions of times. The system didn't pause to verify who was asking, and it didn't monitor the sheer volume of requests coming through the window. It obediently served up every single record it was asked for. That specific failure in logic resulted in the exposure of 10 million personal data records. The attackers didn't need to break down any digital doors. They exploited scale and repetition against an overly trusting system. How do developers actually stop this? How do you structurally prevent users from secretly commanding a literal-minded machine? The first primary defense is called parameterization. Think of this as forcing all user input into a transparent safe box before it ever reaches the server. The absolute rule of this safe box is that the system treats everything inside it strictly as inert text. Even if you write a dangerous command inside that box, the system is programmed to ignore it and just treat it as a strangely long, harmless name. The second layer of defense is sanitization. This acts as a mandatory cleanup scrubber that washes the data before it's allowed into the core system. This scrubber specifically hunts for dangerous coding symbols. If it spots a stray semicolon or a suspicious quotation mark where it doesn't belong, it either deletes the symbol or blocks the user entirely. Together, these defenses enforce a core principle of cybersecurity. A secure system never actually listens to the user, it only filters them. That filtering protects the code you write. But what about the code you borrow? Join us for Day 6, where we look at vulnerable components and why building an application with unpatched, outdated parts is like trying to build a new house using rotting materials.